If you want cheap Microsoft points and game codes, check out g2a.com. Link is in the description below.
Hey guys, it's Melvin7 here, and today I'm bringing you my BPL predictions, Matchday 23. So, there's obviously the big one in this, the top of the table clash, and yeah, we'll get into that eventually, but the scores at the minute are 66 to the Mystery C, I think. I'll quickly have a look. Yep, and 49 to me, so I'm 17 points behind, but he's been, I think, 12 points behind, and then he's got that gap, so I can bridge that gap. There's 16 weeks left, so it's near enough a point every week. But anyway, let's get into the actual predictions. So, game 1 is going to be Hull up against Newcastle. Now, Hull have been dreadful recently. They really have. They had a good first half against West Ham, but let it slip in the second half, and West Ham battered them 3-0. Newcastle, on the other hand, John Carver's now the manager until the end of the season. He's drew 3 times. He's lost once. They have looked threatening though. I mean, that 3-3 against Burnley was a crazy match. Burnley did deserve to win, but Newcastle showed some attacking flair. Remy Cabella seems to be looking a bit better than he usually does. For me, if Newcastle really can't beat Hull at the minute, who, in my opinion, form-wise and just playing-wise, because they don't have Hernandez or Jelavic, I think Hull are the easiest team to beat at the minute. So for me, Newcastle have to be winning this, and I'm going to say 2-0 Newcastle. Next game, we've got Pardew's Crystal Palace up against Everton. Now, Everton have been shambolic, to say the least. Like, Crystal Palace could leapfrog them in the table if they win. It's crazy. Where they drew 0-0 against West Brom. Palace, on the other hand, obviously a great win against Southampton in the Cup. Oh, that was full of shocks. Fantastic. And a great comeback against Burnley to win 3-2. They're at home. They've got a couple of signings, Amiobi and Much. They might have a full-back by the time that game is, well, the game's tomorrow, so I doubt it. But they're going after some Senegalese League One full-back, I do believe. So yeah, for me, Palace are going to win this. Like, I wouldn't have dared said that at the start of the season, but Everton have been so poor, it's unbelievable. So I'm going to say 2-1 Crystal Palace. The next game, we've got a very interesting one. It's going to be Liverpool up against West Ham. Now, West Ham, sky high in confidence. I mean, they didn't really dispatch Rochdale as heavily as I thought they would. They won 1-0 and were maybe lucky to do that, but against Hull in the second half, they battered them. They beat them 3-0, so confidence going to be really high. Obviously, this is a game that both sides want to win if they're going to push for Europe, because I think West Ham are 7th and Liverpool are 8th. So, you know, whoever wins is going to have the upper hand. So that's going to play a big factor. Liverpool just lost against Chelsea. Played very well against Chelsea, in fairness. And, yeah, they just are lacking a striker, let's be honest. Everyone knows that. The defence isn't the greatest, but against Chelsea it looked fairly decent. I mean, Chelsea obviously have ridiculous players. So, yeah, the defence is still shaky. West Ham, on the other hand, are quite well balanced. So, for me, this one's going to be a draw. It's going to be a very interesting game. Andy Carroll back against Liverpool, and yeah, I reckon he's going to get on the score sheet. I'm going to say it's going to be an entertaining 2-2. The next game is Manchester United up against Leicester. Now, it's time for revenge. This is the last time I'm going to say Leicester, hopefully anyway. Leicester have beat us 5-3 earlier in the season, obviously, away from home. We were 3-1 up, cruise control, a stupid penalty decision. That is not an excuse, that's a fact. They score, and our defence collapses. It's the worst collapse of a defence I've seen ever. 4 goals in 20 minutes against Leicester. It's just crazy. Yeah, so we're out for revenge, obviously. I mean, Louis van Gaal isn't going to see it that way. The fans are, though. Michael Carrick is injured. Now, although he's been pivotal for us this season, that could be a slight benefit, because it means that Ander Herrera, who, to be honest, when he's came on in cup games, when he's came on in games, he's changed the way we play. Instead of this sideways bollocks, we play forward. He tries to do things along with Di Maria. They try and create things. Hasn't been working. It's going to click when Blind and Herrera play in the same team, which is hopefully going to be this weekend against Leicester. Leicester have their new signing, I think, Kraveric, I don't know how the hell you say it, the new striker that Chelsea were interested in. They have signed him, so he might be a threat. Obviously, they've got Aloha. Vardy was a threat the last time he played us, but he's died down since. So Leicester have been pretty good recently, but for me, we have to be winning this at Old Trafford, especially since we have like hardly any injuries. I think Young, Carrick, I think there's one other off the top of my head, but I can't remember. And yeah, we need to be winning this. I'm going to say 3-1 Manchester United. I really hope we keep a clean sheet, but no, fuck it. 3-0. I'm going to be confident. 3-0 Manchester United. Next game, we've got Stoke up against QPR. Two sides that have, well, they're unpredictable, apart from QPR, who seem to lose every single game away from home. Bojan has got a 9-month injury. I feel so sorry for him. Started showing his real class in the recent weeks and months for Stoke, and unfortunately a 9-month injury, that is horrendous. So maybe confidence is going to be a bit low for Stoke, even though they beat Leicester, high-flying Leicester, 1-0 away from home in their last game. And yeah, I feel really sorry for them. They did win their cup game though against, I can't remember, it was 4-1. It might be Rochdale. I know I said another team had played Rochdale, but I might have been a bit mixed up. But anyway, QPR haven't even got a point away from home, so for me, Stoke are going to edge this 1-0. They're very unpredictable, but for me that's going to happen. Now the next game could potentially prove to be the most boring game ever. Sunderland against Burnley, but recently they've both looked a bit better. Well, I say that, Sunderland still struggling to get goals, but now they've got Jermaine Defoe, I can see him getting some, because Burnley don't have the best defence, but they're starting to find a partnership up front with Danny Ings, and I forgot the other player that started scoring a lot. But yeah, for me, I'm going to say possibly a surprise result, but I'm going to say 2-2. I reckon this is going to be fairly entertaining, end-to-end stuff. Next game we got West Brom up against Spurs. West Brom drew 0-0 with Everton in their last game. Spurs obviously just managed to narrowly beat Sheffield United 2-2. They edged it 3-2 on aggregate, obviously. So they're going to Wembley. Confidence is going to be really high. Eriksen, that free kick was unbelievable. It's a three-man team for Spurs at the minute. Eriksen, Lloris and Kane. When all three of those are on fire, Spurs are just fantastic. I mean, other players like Mason sometimes delivers, Vertonghen, rarely Lamella does, etc. There's not really many that consistently perform as good as those three. So for me, if they're on sparkling form, then West Brom are going to have a lot to deal with, even though Tony Pulis has now created them into a very defensive side. So for me, because they're quite defensive now, West Brom, I reckon it's going to be a 1-0 victory for Spurs. They're going to edge it, but we'll see. And the next game is the big one. It's Chelsea up against Manchester City. Now, I'm gutted because Chelsea look as though they're going to be finalising Jans Cuadrado tomorrow, and it's just ridiculous. Manchester United, why the hell? We didn't sign him. We need him. We've got the money. There's no excuses. But he's going to Chelsea. So, yeah, their squad's going to be even more OP. He's not going to play, though, in my opinion. He might be on the bench, but I don't even think he'll be on the bench. Mourinho's not one to risk players, especially for huge games like this, which could determine the season, especially if they haven't played. So for me, he's not going to play. They're just retarded reports, to be honest. He'll arrive, and then they've got the game at, what, 5:30? So, you know, he's not even going to have trained, so I really doubt he's going to be in the starting lineup. But aside from that, Diego Costa looks as though he's going to get a 3-game ban, so he's not eligible. Manchester City, on the other hand, they're going to obviously start Lampard because Touré is off at the African Cup of Nations, and they haven't won, I don't think, this season without Touré. Aguero, as I predicted, when he comes back, it usually takes him around 3 to 4 weeks. So maybe this is the game he hits form. I really hope it isn't. I prefer Chelsea to win the title, then City. So for me, it's going to be end-to-end. But for me, Chelsea just have the quality, even without Diego Costa. If they sit back, which they might, because Mourinho might be like, oh, you know, 1 point is good. They might sit back, absorb the pressure from Manchester City and hit them on the counter-attack, as Chelsea do so often, or they might go punch for punch. Either way, it's a Chelsea victory in my eyes. 3-1 to Chelsea. Next game, we've got Arsenal up against Aston Villa. Now, Arsenal, it looks as though Sanchez is injured slightly. It's a hamstring injury, but it doesn't look to be too serious. Now, probably couldn't have come at a better time for Arsenal. Ozil and Walcott are coming back. They're against Villa, who have the worst scoring record, apart from the last two that they scored in the FA Cup. The worst scoring record in the league. I think there's only one other team in the top 7 divisions of the pyramid of English football that have scored less than Villa. It's ridiculous. I don't understand it. They've got quality up front like Benteke, and it just isn't working. Maybe it's the midfielders, the creativity. So, you know, being a Villa fan must be horrendous. They just never score, and they've just been beaten by Liverpool. Obviously, they went through in the cup, though, so maybe that gives a bit of confidence. But Arsenal, even without Sanchez, have to be winning this at the Emirates. They dispatched Manchester City with extreme ease. They were the only giant to get through the FA Cup unscathed really. I mean, we drew with Cambridge, Liverpool drew, Chelsea, City lost, Spurs lost, Southampton lost. So yeah, it's going to be sky high. They've just signed Gabriel Palestra. If Arsenal lose this, I don't know what the hell they need to up the spirits. So yeah, I'm going to say it's going to be a 4-0 Arsenal victory. I can see a whitewash. I really hope I'm wrong, but I'm going to say 4-0 Arsenal, even without Alexis Sanchez. And in the last game, we've got Southampton up against Swansea. Swansea, obviously, Boney left a couple of weeks ago. He still wouldn't have been eligible even if he was at the club, because he's at the African Cup of Nations. Gomes looks as though he wants to leave. It's not going well for Swansea at the minute. They lost 5-0 against Chelsea. Whereas Southampton, they did lose the FA Cup against Spurs, but before that they won 2-1 away against Newcastle. They played fairly well. I think Schneiderlin and Wanyama are back, and they are the keys for Southampton. So for me, nothing but a Southampton win. I'm going to say 2-0, and they're my predictions, so we'll just compare them quickly with the Mystery C, and we'll see how different they are. So, looking at the comparisons, he thinks that Hull, without their two best strikers, are going to score 2 against Newcastle's flimsy defence, shall we say. He thinks that Everton are going to actually perform and beat Crystal Palace, so Pardew will get his first loss. Thinks Liverpool will beat West Ham. Thinks we'll beat Leicester, so that's the same, I suppose. Thinks that QPR finally get a point away from home. He thinks that Sunderland will beat Burnley. Spurs, the same result as me. Chelsea, same result, different score. Arsenal, same result, different score. And Southampton, same result, different score. Kind of the reverse of the Arsenal game with the Southampton one. 4-0, 4-0, 2-0, 2-0. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully I can get some points back. That would be fantastic. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the descriptions. And yeah, in the description. That's not right. In the comment section. And yeah, peace.